Okay, guys and gals, this is like going into, first of all, happy Valentine's Day, everybody. I hope that you, hope that you're just truly in love with yourself, man, because we're all stuck with ourselves, whether we like it or not. So I hope that, one, you have found peace and serenity and love in your life. Two, especially if you're with somebody else, that makes it a lot of fun too. So happy Valentine's Day. And if you're just hanging out, you will soon find that's all I'm doing. Just hanging out here in Central Florida. My Valentine just happens to be taking a shower and getting dressed right now. It just gives her a little time. So that works out for me. I'm slow crawling some plastics through these really nasty little parts of this retention pond here in Central Florida. I'm using an FP 885 flipping and pitching stick. I'm looking for signs of life right now. That's all we're doing. I'm using a Zoom Ultra Vibe. They call them Florida swim baits here. You can slow troll them. I got it on a underbelly weighted hook. That sun's just starting to come up right now, which makes it nice. These fish like it hot, and the water's been pretty chilly. Florida looks a lot like the Midwest right now. There's a lot of red and a lot of brown going on in trees that should be, green and lush. And boy, I'll tell you what, it's a tinderbox, that's for sure. Everything's really just dry. Lake levels have been just going down tremendously. Hope everybody's doing really good where you are at right now. So welcome aboard. It's the old-fashioned way of how you have to look for that sign of life, one cast at a time. Every cast is a prayer. Every catch is a ceremony, celebration. So this setup allows me to really toss into some of this nasty stuff that most people don't even really like getting involved in, and you don't want to be, undergunned in this stuff. So it's just a lot of thick vegetation, and if you just happen to, by golly, hook up with one of these big female bass, they will just not play nice, and they will humble you really quick. I'm in an area that I can't really close. Um, the young man who told me about this place asked me not to publicly release the location. So I promised him that I wouldn't do that. What's going on, everybody? How are you doing? Chrissy, Jack, How's it going, guys? Hope that your day is doing good. Happy Valentine's Day, my friends. So I am right now just in about maybe a foot or 2 foot of water where I'm tossing this Zoom Ultra Vibe. Trying out some new swim baits, new soft plastics, some new techniques. Really just taking the next couple, like really the next week. I only got about a week left to really just kind of pick out some other types of tech lures, soft plastics, colors, or something that I'm using. The old trouser trout. Yeah, I'm not sure what that means. I hope you guys are having a good day. They also call the Ultra Vibe the Florida swim bait. Literally, you can run this thing much like a whopper plopper. Surface, something on the surface has a prop on it, and just run that Florida swim bait right up over that Ultra Vibe, right up on that surface there. Boy, that'll grab some attention. Run that back by all those targets. What? I would love that. I'm gonna send a 6-7. Yeah, I'm not sure what the code is on that, my friend, but I appreciate it, Jack. What's going on? Jack, I would love for you to subscribe. That's what you're saying, my friend. Are you into this kind of stuff? Thanks, Jack. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, in layman terms, you'll have to ask. You have to describe to me what you meant about the no chrome flip flop thing. 6-7. Sorry. So I'm using the FP 885 flipping and pitching stick right now. This is probably no doubt favorite bass fishing rod that I've ever built. This is, in fact, this is the fourth one that I built like this. And boy, when they hit, and it's exciting. And with the mod fast tip, really allows them to just smack this thing. Tip doesn't jerk it out of their mouth. Has just enough play in it that'll allow them to take it and then bam, set the hook on it. Boy, the meat and potatoes in this, they're like right there. They just came up for it. Just see, well, guys couldn't see that, damn it. One thing I wish that they had on YouTube was the multi-phone like they do on TikTok. You know what I mean? Jack, how are you, man? Hello. What am I trying to catch? I'm trying to, well, anything, but bass is my target species, Jack. Next week, I'll be starting the year off with a co-angling tournament. something I haven't done in many, many years. I've been a competitive kayak bass angler for a long time, but that was basically because I looked up the cost of a bass boat. My budget said you better paddle faster. So shortly after that, I was entered in just about every single tournament, Michigan to Florida. And no doubt, Florida always became my favorite destination. And, you know, don't need to really explain why. The fishing down here is just amazing. And if you get burnt out on a little bass fishing, then there's always, inshore and tasty fillets out in the ocean. This is a retention body of water that is very, very common here in Florida. And at one time, probably prior to Hurricane Ian, all of this area right here was just a forest with motorcycle trails, ATV trails, and such. And so Hurricane Ian came in here and donated, probably when we moved here, donated a good 150 acres of water. And this water didn't go anywhere, and it still hasn't since Hurricane Ian. When we moved down here 3 years ago, um, I was looking all over the place for homes. I saw this one, but it didn't thrill me too much because I saw the motorcycle trails and the ATV trails behind it, and I wasn't excited about hearing that because I knew the weekends would just be covered up with 250 Elsinores and doing the same thing I would as a kid. But when I came out here to look at the house, I walked in the back and I saw all of this water, and I was like, holy smacks. But this water goes on. In fact, my house is connected to a body of water that you have to carry. I had to carry the kayak up and over into another body of water that's connected. And sometimes it's a little walk. But at one time, all of that water was connected. And it was probably 180 acres back here. No, today's been a really slow day. Water temperature is extremely cold, and something just went up after it right there. Maybe you might be my good luck charm there, boy. It just went up after it right there. Hit it pretty hard too. We've had a lot of the short strikes just like this all morning. I caught one earlier today. And no, it's really been a slow day. And I thought that I'd entertain you guys with some really slow, mellow fishing. Jack, what do I use as bait? So I'm using all artificial. And right now I'm just kind of stepping outside of my comfort zone, to be honest with you. I'm using some colors that have been popular for others down here, but haven't worked so much for me. And then it's a funny thing, one color will work fantastic for one angler, but won't work worth a damn for another one. And so I'm just trying. Today is just totally about trying some different stuff out. But I've been getting some really good reactions on, you know, what I'm tossing. So this one right here is I'm using a Zoom. That's a ultra vibe right there. That is the color. Hold on. La 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 la. Sungill. Color Sungill. Magnum. Shaboom, shaboom. And I have that on a just a 3/0. Actually, should have it probably more on a 5/0 or a 6/0 underbelly weighted hook there with a spring lock on the front of it. That's what I'm doing. And just trying some different colors out in the co-angling tournament next weekend. I want to be limited to what I have. I don't want to carry a lot of rods up on somebody's boat. I want to I want to bring on board about 3 different rods. And I don't want to use up a lot of space. I really just want to be totally effective with all 3 rods in different types of ways. But a question that you have there. What's better, paddle drive, flipper, or a prop? Okay. I have been on almost every single kayak there is. And thank you very much, by the way, to Strictly Sail and Kayak, located in Blue Ash, Ohio. They've been there since 1978, Jack. What were you doing in 1978? But they have allowed me old towns, wilderness systems, all of the different Hobies. Some of them have prop drive, some of them have the flipper type, what we will call mirage drives. And there's no doubt about it that what I'm using right now, which is a mirage drive, is no doubt the best thing to use when it comes to having just a self prop system to a kayak. Barely have to use it. The flips, they don't get caught up in the grass like a prop drive would. They sound more natural to the fish. You can sneak right up on these big, big fish, literally, and that's very important on the inshore. You know, you're just another fin in the water. You're not a sound of for every turn of that crank is 12 to 14 turns of that prop. That does make a sound in the water where the fins just make a sound that's very common in the water. That'll happen. That'll happen, Jack. You know, the best thing to do is find a knot that will work for you. And there's a ton of YouTube videos. There's so many out there that teach you different knots. And you just sit down and watch, Netflix, or, maybe you're like me, you're watching the Bengals get beat up during a game, and you study your knots and you get comfortable with tying that knot. And because that's pretty common, that's going to happen a lot. Let's cruise up here on the bank a little bit. I'll give this lure about, I'll give it about 30 or 40 casts. Nice, respectful in the target area cast. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. A little premature on that, I think, buddy. It's ready to jerk that head off. Oh my, jeez, oh Pete. Ready to take that face off that fish. Thought I saw, I felt the tap, and I thought I saw this thing traveling. It was probably the wind pushing it a little bit. Got me all excited. Yes, man. You're talking about the Mirage 180. about the flipper is the instant reverse. That's what I want, really. What I yeah, and it's gonna be very expensive. You're talking about that. That's $1,000 drive. But boy, is it nice to have it. But not necessarily. In fact, this one doesn't have the M1. The 180 as they call it. This is just the 90, like straight ahead. This just takes you forward. But yeah, having that reverse is good because sometimes you're fighting those bigger fish out of whatever junk you're in, and if you don't have that instant reverse, you can be pulled right into the mix there, which will happen if I get caught up on something, like right here, caught up on probably a lily pad. It's not going to break out. So we have to go to it. Now, I would be using the reverse in this situation, just kicking in reverse, point this rod tip straight down toward wherever I'm stuck, and just start pulling straight back because this thing does have the ability to, really pull itself out of some junk. There we go, like this right here. Gets wrapped up. It's good, but since we're here, let's fix this guy up. Boy, that water's cold right now. Yeah, I would on the 180, man. I would honestly, they also got the 360, but I think, to be honest with you, I think that's a little complicated. You don't need more than really the 180. That's my personal opinion. That's from somebody who's been on all of them. Um, you don't need that. The only one that I have not been on, and that has been introduced this year, even the Jets, the the Yak Jet, that thing was pretty fascinating. Whatever that thing was called, a little different. I think it needs some tweaks, but there was no doubt in my mind that sooner or later somebody was going to be putting on a jet to a kayak. No doubt in my mind. And so they had 3D printed about 6 different parts. That's all it is. Yak Jet. I think that's what it's called. Something like that. And it could work. But this system right here, it's one of the best systems. It's dependable. It is fast for the most part. It'll get you where you need to go. You can get in absolutely incredibly shallow water, and ever so more important when you're talking about getting into the inshore black drum, red, speckled trout. I might just be fishing this thing way too fast. As a co-angler too, and again, next weekend's my first co-angler tournament. You got to slow it down a little bit, man. You got to, because you're fishing dirty water. What I mean by dirty water is water that kayak anglers always an angler is already dirtied up, basically, which is something that kayak anglers kind of get used to doing because the glitter boats always beat us to the sweet spots. So just gotta mellow it out, man. Sometimes you're not fishing the lake anymore. You're not fishing the body of water anymore. You're fishing the angler that's up in front of the boat. You're fishing all of his bad decisions, all of his good decisions. You're fishing all of his, you know, off of all of his positions, his angles, his missed opportunities, paying attention to him more than you are anything else, praying to God that you don't bust a big old huge Texas rig off the back of his Mercury outboard. Boom! Oh my God, wouldn't that be horrible? But if we were just cruising around and the bite is about what it is right there. Oh, oh my God. Oh my God. That was a really nice fish. That was a really nice fish. Really nice fish. We had that pin for a moment too. That was a really nice fish. I forgot what I was saying, but I was bringing that through pretty fast. One of the things about those strikes, man, they pump this adrenaline through you, and you always want to remember what you were doing. Just remember what you were doing when you got that last big old strike like that. And my style's kind of changed, to be honest with you, since I've been down here in Florida. You get spoiled. You get really really spoiled, and you stop fishing for uh, a bunch of strikes. You just want five big ones, and it's been fun. So that was one that was worthy of, like, wow, that was a good one. But just did not get that hook set in there. But that's a good sign because here we are using the Florida swim bait, otherwise known as the Ultra Vibe, right there. That's cool. I have never caught a shark yet. Jack, that was I never want to say it was a monster because it wasn't a monster. But I will say, if you think that a fish that weighs over 3 pounds is a big one, which I do, but I think that's a pretty big one right now, especially right now when I haven't caught anything all day other than a one little one. I caught one earlier that was about maybe a pound and a half. Little male. Get my line all wrapped up. There we go. But I'd say that was a big one. So we might be in a right spot right here. So we're in an area that's kind of the trifecta. What I mean by that, you got all the different types of vegetations. You really do. You got busted up pine trees, stumps. You got bamboo grass. You got lily pads. And having all of that together could make for just a beautiful spawning area back here. You have the heat. And what I mean by the spawning areas, this is where they're going to come back here and make their nest. And that's a pretty cool thing to see. I haven't seen signs of nests though. This is very dark water, even though it's very clear underneath. What was the biggest fish I've caught? Uh, I caught my two biggest fish in one day. I broke my personal best in one day, which was a really cool thing. It was a magic day, man. And in fact, if there's a buddy of mine, I got some of the video on my TikTok, and which is John Graves Kayak Fishing, or John Marion Graves. But if a buddy wasn't with me from Ohio, came down here to witness it, nobody would believe what happened to me that day. In fact, I probably should switch over to what I was using, which was a Strike King Rage Swimmer. I think exactly what we're going to do right now, Jack. So I was using a Strike King Rage Swimmer. I'm going to pop one out. We're going to pop one on here. And a buddy of mine was down from Cincinnati, Ohio. And we were in a body of water very similar to this. And I just started throwing this setup right here. This exact setup. So 3/0 underbelly weighted spring lock hook in a Strike King Rage Swimmer. And this setup will allow you to just burn it right up over and through all this ugly vegetation. Sometimes I reuse these things, so I put them back in there, but we're going to get out a fresh one. So there it is, right there. Throws out a big, nasty wake. And I think what happened to me is I was rolling this thing all up and through this vegetation and up over these lily pads this particular day. It was just waking up the giants. And I don't know if they were just chilling out up underneath these lily pads or not, but it was one big hit after another big hit after another big hit. And my buddy's like going, dude, what are you doing? And so I said, man, it's just, I'm tossing this Strike King Rage Swimmer and I'm just doing this. That's all I'm doing. I'm just kind of just having fun. It's almost like tossing baseball in the backyard with your buddy. You're just like, you're just not really thinking of anything. It's so easy. Tossing it out, just bringing it back in. Not really just caring about anything. You're just like, boom, this is nice. And this particular technique with this particular lure that I have on right now, with this exact hook and setup straight to the braid, began to just catching fish after fish after fish. And so my buddy was trying it, and it just wasn't happening for him. There you go, right there. One come up after it right there, Jack. My buddy it just wasn't happening for my buddy. And I felt bad because I was still catching fish. And then all of a sudden I loaded up on a big one. And I knew it was a big one. I could see it. Rolled over a couple times, got caught up in some lily pads. I had to get the kayak, this particular kayak, over to the lily pad, assuming that I was caught up in the lily pad. And oh man, something's over there. We're waking up the giant right now, Jack. Assuming I was caught up in the lily pad because I didn't feel anything. I reached down underneath the lily pad and didn't feel anything, but then realized that my hand was in the mouth of the bass. And it freaked me out. I could feel the lure. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I put the grab on that lower lips, one of the biggest lower lips I've ever grabbed in my life. I mean, this thing was huge. I almost had to do two hands, and fell back in my seat of the kayak with this just monster bass, which ended up weighing. Unfortunately, I had to call my buddy over because he had a scale to add the insult to injury. To pour some salt in his wound. It was an 8.3 pound bass. So I was super happy with that. That was just the best thing that ever happened to me. I was loving it. Fish. I was ready to stop fishing, but how could I? I wanted to keep going, and I'm glad I did. It's 45 minutes later. 45 minutes later. Boom. I get hit by another just monster doing the same thing I'm doing right now. Just literally just pushing this little swim bait. It's really not a little swim bait. It's a 4.75-inch swim bait. Bam, got hit by another one. Nine. And my buddy just, I think, was defeated. Shortly after that, he was ready to go home. But boy, I'm glad he was there because nobody would believe that. What an insane day. There's no doubt in my mind that I had probably 100 pounds of fish. It was incredible. If that was an MLF tournament, there's no doubt in my mind I would have won it that day. Because even even the smaller fish were weighing 4 and 5 pounds. It was just insane. But it was this technique I'm using right now. There's big fish up here. I've been seeing some movement rolling this through. And really, what this does is just a great fish locator. You're going to see them move on it, either come to it, interest, to have interest if they don't want it. Because we're in some, maybe 2 foot of water. The FP885 flipping and pitching stick that I built this rod on, the blank that I built this rod on, is it's got a mod fast tip. It's perfect for stuff like this. It's a nice little spot, sweet little spot for a fish. I just need to see something explode on this thing. That's all we want. You can really start to see the bottom of the water right now. Hold on tight. Hold tight right there, guys. I'm sorry my knees are entertaining you right now. I'm going to check this out. Wow. Definitely when you're standing up, you're able to cover a lot more water. Definitely don't see any types of signs of nesting or though either. But boy, it sure is pretty up there. We're caught on something. All right, well, we're going to go in there whether we like it or not. And away we go. Okay, we're going to see if we can get in there, guys. Here we go. We are in about 6 inches of water right here. The best thing to do in this situation, let's release the bail. We're going to take a bungee cord. We're going to wrap it around this guy a couple times. We're going to hold that. That's what's going to hold this drive up right there. So we got the fins pushed up. See if we can pop it. Make sure that is stuck there. Otherwise, we just boom. At this point, set this bad boy down. We're going to take our oar out. Let's go ahead and secure our net. We're not going to need that anytime soon. I like to split this thing in half, and it gives me the opportunity just to be able to really kind of push myself through there like this. This gives me an opportunity to see how deep it is. Sometimes you think it's only about 2 feet deep, and you realize, no, it's deeper than that. Hold tight for a second. Let me take up some of this slack line. Keep up on this as we go along. Take the time to do so too, because you'll just get caught up in all kinds of stuff. And this braid's not going to be friendly to you. But that's what I like about braid, because now we can just pull ourselves over there. Got ourselves clear of a few things. FP885's got the strength. I can just sit here and do this. Pulls right over to it. And it just remains pretty deep over here. So this is all right. We can still be a little quiet. We're not really making much noise at all. You couldn't do this with a prop drive. Prop drive you'd had to take out. There we go. Finally got you. She was all hooked up in the stump. Let's just kind of float through here. I'm going to get things fixed back up. Take the oar off my lap here. We're going to float through here. And just let the wind kind of take us where we should go. Keep the Mirage drive up. Boom. Push off. You can use the rod itself. This is a really brutally strength, great rod. I love this thing. You don't want to be too hard on it, but boy, we're in some good water right here, guys. Hope everybody's doing good today, man. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. We're just trying to strike up the band right now. There was still something there. Wow. Oh. There's a couple little beautiful mallards right there just took off. Boy, we had something just hit it right there, guys. That was fun. Didn't look much more than a little healthy male bass, but I'll take that right now. If I needed to put something in my weigh bag, I'll take that. That's for sure. If I can remember where I can put that at. Those male bass could be working their way up into the shallows here. Some do it sooner, some do it later. Really depends on, I think, a lot of the water temperatures. And here you'll have different water temperatures. In all those different types of water. Does that make sense? Something I didn't actually, really think about, just because it's a water in Central Florida, some of these waters have a cooler or warmer temperature than others. And that will dictate, when those bass feel comfortable that they can start to spawn. So since we're here, we're just going to pop around some of these stumps, lily pads. Let's see if we can't recreate that just tremendous day. It was really amazing day, actually. What's the biggest fish you've caught, Jack, by the way? How about you? think even what made it even better that it was, they were on fish that on a fishing rod that I built myself, and that was really at the end of it. Didn't think about that while it was happening because you're just losing your total mind. But after it was all said and done, you just kind of sober up, and then you get this other like feeling of just amazing satisfaction when you realize that it was on a rod that you built yourself. And I would encourage anybody out there uh, that's watching to learn how to build a fishing rod. It's fun. It's not complicated. It really isn't. It's fifth grade art class instruction, basically. A rod does not have to be beautiful to be workable and effective. And when you start to really learn how to build your own fishing rod, and you go out there and you actually catch your trophy fish with that fishing rod you built, there is no better way to finish off a day. That is for sure. That really makes it a little bit extra special. So we'll do it. We'll just work our way around this little area here. We'll fan cast around the block, see if there's anybody interested in what we got to serve up here. It's not pancakes. It's not sausage burritos. It's not rancheros sandos. That's called. Fun stuff. Big plans for Valentine's Day, everybody. How are you doing, man? Do you got big plans? Let's hear what the love's gonna be. Now you have the chance to really, catch other things such as mudfish like the bowfin, which is pretty exciting to catch, pickerel, which is fun to catch. You can tell that I think with those fish, you see the fish just coming right from the side. I mean, it's coming right, boom, right next to it. We're stuck again. No, we're not. The Lord was with us. Now we're stuck. What that did was expose that hook, and we got stuck in. There we go. Pop through there. So, well, guys, what I wanted to do was come on here and wish everybody a happy Valentine's Day. Get out there, spread the love that you have for yourself, for your family, your friends, and for your fishing. Okay, let's make it all good for everybody. And boom, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. So stay tuned. We got a lot of exciting stuff happening here next week. It's going to be great. My first co-angling off the American Bass Anglers Tournament off the St. Johns River. So stay tuned for that. Hit that subscribe button. Smash that thing there and follow. And it's going to be a lot of fun. But I really appreciate the support. Thank you so much. Jack, it was fun talking to you if you're still out there. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it, my friend. Get out there and catch some big fish, okay? Maybe a big shark like your dad did. I'll talk to you soon, guys. Thank you so much, John Graves, Kayak Fishing, over and out.